Tell you one thing, T. I'm getting too old for this nonsense.
Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. There's a trailer, there's a moat, it's a beast.
I'm AJ Gutierrez.
And I'm Aurelio Martinez, and we're the Creeps.
Big time creeps. Not as creepy as a stumbling, bumbling, drunk guy walking down the highway, but maybe just equally as creepy.
Maybe, but I don't understand why he'd be doing walking down the highway.
Stranger things have happened, man.
That's true.
Well, this week on the podcast, on the Creep Show, we're talking spring football, a little bit of coaching staffs, and maybe a little Clayton Kershaw if we got time. Most schools are either still going or just finished spring football. Passing tournaments, passing league, 11-on-11s are fast approaching. You got kids getting looked at camps, elite camps, 7-on-7 camps throughout the state, without the nation probably. So football has essentially started in a lot of ways. Where are you guys at right now with spring football, or just in general with the direction of you guys' football season?
We have 1 week left of spring football.
And what does spring football usually consist of, if you could share with our handsome, beautiful viewers?
Now or back then?
A combination. I mean, we could show the differences. I mean, it's different now than it was when we played, for sure. So,
absolutely. Back when we played, spring was it was so chill. It was no big deal. Show up, put in a couple plays, maybe go for an hour after school. That was it. Nowadays, though, because of them pushing up the schedule, it's basically like an extension of summer.
That's really true. Do you think that spring football starts too early, or do you think there's enough time? Do you think there's a burnout factor? What are your thoughts on the new spring version versus maybe how it used to be?
Well, I don't think it starts too early. I just don't think we have enough break between the end of spring to the beginning of summer anymore because of this whole, them pushing up the games. And it's a lot more intense, and I've seen a little bit of burnout like this. Yesterday's practice, the kids were just going through the motions, so that doesn't help. And it's not like we didn't practice every day. We had Monday off, and then on Wednesday we had an inner practice or a squad practice with Camarillo that consisted of 7-on-7, 11-on-11, and other drills.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about, kids kind of going through the motions, showing up on a Friday. Do you think that is a product of just the amount of work they're doing, or the new generation, or just, I don't know, is there something else?
I think it's a little bit of both, Plus it's Friday, last day of school. They want to go, get it over with and get on to the weekend.
I had that issue. That's why we didn't practice yesterday. I thought Thursday's practice, people were not mentally there. There was a banquet that night, which is not a reason not to be there and practice, but I just felt that they were not mentally engaged, and I felt like I was going to be fighting the uphill battle and be more stressed out if I continued to practice them the next day. So we just lifted weights and kind of moved on. But I know the burnout's there, because if you're lifting and you're running and you're doing all these things, you're really pushing them pretty hard.
Yeah.
Did you guys stop doing morning weights during this time period?
Yes, we do weights after practice now on Tuesdays and Fridays.
So you're only doing lifting weights. So you went from lifting 4 days a week?
I think it was 3 for them. I'm not
3
sure,
days?
though.
So you're lifting 3 days a week, plus now you're down to 2.
Yes.
Will you guys change that lifting schedule in the summer?
I believe it has changed. I believe they'll start at 3 before practice.
So they'll lift before practice starts?
Yes.
Do you find that there was Is there coach burnout from morning weights, or is there just
No, I think there's even more coaches. So
even more coaches?
yeah, even more coaches.
So it's just, I think everybody's just kind of adapting to the new requirements
Yes.
of what spring football is today. Do you think spring football serves a purpose? Do you think it's required? What do you think the main goals, or what have you guys seen that's been accomplished this year?
Just putting in some of your stuff. Get, like I said, it's almost an extension of summer. Get the stuff ready. Get your team ready. Add a couple things here or there without pads, and see what we have. What kind of athletes we have and what we could put in or what not to put in, and see if they could handle if we throw a lot of stuff at them.
Do you think that? Do you think you guys have been able to accomplish that goal with 1 week left with spring ball, to get in things and get an idea of where kids fit?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job. I think we're even ahead of schedule, to be honest with you. I have one defense left to put in, and my whole defensive package just tweaks every week here and there depending on the opponent.
Right.
But other than that, everything's going to be in by the end of spring.
Are you guys, have you put in blitzes and things like that, or not yet?
Yes, we put in some blitzes. I believe we put in our single linebacker blitz and our gun blitzes are all in.
Okay. I know we haven't put in blitzes yet, but that's just me kind of easing them into learning how to play the position, because I don't know if our guys really understand it based on what I've seen. What are some challenges you guys have faced during this time period?
Just some of the positions don't have as many kids. For like the first time ever that I've seen, there's like half of our team are linemen.
Really?
Yes, or some sort of either offense or defensive linemen, and the other half is the other positions: linebackers, corners, and safeties. So it's kind of tough. Like at the linebacker spot, I've only had 4 yesterday at practice.
Wow.
And I think we only had 4 or 3 cats and strongs.
That's a big difference.
Yes.
So how is
So
that going to affect you guys' practice time when it comes time, for fall? You think you'll still have the guys to make it work?
yeah, and the way we're looking at it is we want 22 kids to play, so 11 on offense, 11 on defense. Maybe get one kid here or there, take a couple plays,
Yeah.
if we need them to. Play on the other side of the ball, but hopefully we could find 11 on offense, 11 on defense. Just the problem is I'm a little scared because of our depth at some positions. If a kid goes down, there's either no one there, or the next kid, the quality goes way down. But that's our job to coach them up.
Absolutely. And I think we're both in the same mindset. Is if you're not prepared, then you're not going to be successful. So at least if you're developing and you're seeing improvement every day, at least that you're going to get something out of that kid when a situation, he's put in a situation of play. Well, the goal is you'd hope that he will be ready to do those things. Are there any things that you think you might have, would tweak as you go into summer, or maybe tweak as you finish up? Anything that kind of sticks out to you based on what you guys have been doing?
No, I think everything's going well.
How has your staff kind of adapted to Aaron being the new head coach and Pike coming back down to take on the offense? How are those changes going from, let's say, last year, or let's say to when I was the head coach, or even when Kyle or Gary were the head coach?
Everything's going smooth. The coaches they all like each other. We get along fine. Aaron's a pretty chill guy. Lets the coordinators coordinate. And the only thing that I see that sometimes Pike doesn't have enough help. So he has to coordinate and coach everybody on the offense by himself, which kind of sucks. But other than that, everything's been going pretty smooth.
What about having defense coaches help on offense? Has that been talked about?
It has, and I offered, but he sets up his schedule to the point where if he knows that he's not going to have any help, he just goes straight into team activities. Like, what did we do yesterday? We did inside run. Mm-hmm. So we did, our defensive coaches had to go take, there was no receiver coach yesterday, so our corner and safety coach took those guys, and then after that we did team.
Okay, that's not bad. I know we did that Tuesday I was really pissed off from our practice, but there was a bunch of things that were going on I was angry about. So Wednesday I changed our schedule, and I did very similar to what you just described Pike doing is I took away more individual time and put more skill development time into a grouped period, where it could be linebackers and DBs while D-line's with the D-line coach, or I could work with the secondary in a period where the linebackers and D-line can come together for a period, So that's kind of been my way of navigating it. But, how many coaches do you guys have to where you have an offense and defensive coaching staff? Do you guys have enough coaches to do that, or how is your guys' breakdown?
Well, we have everybody's on defense. So it's me. I'm the defensive coordinator. Then I have a D-line coach. I have a safeties coach. I have a corners coach, and I have a linebacker coach.
So what do you coach?
I jump in and I coach when there's a missing coach, which we've had the last 2 days.
Okay.
So I've coached linebackers the last 2 days. And then the head coach as well could coach either corners or safeties.
So how come why isn't the head coach offense then?
That's a good question. You gotta ask. You gotta ask him that. We've asked, and he doesn't want to, or he doesn't think he needs to. You know what? But he has actually done. He's been coaching running backs. To be honest with you.
Well, that's good. I'm just not taking a knock at anybody. I'm just saying if there's some issues in terms of not having coaches, it'd be an easy fix if guys that are not coaching a position take on one of those roles. Because I'm coaching, like for instance, I'm coaching running backs one day. I could be coaching. Actually, I haven't coached running backs a whole lot. I've either done wideouts, DBs, or linebackers. But I go wherever our team needs me to go. If I don't need to do anything, then I don't coach. I walk around and facilitate and set up drills or something like that. Do you find that all the 7-on or 11-on stuff that you guys have done so far has been helpful? Has it been kind of a hindrance to your week? Are your kids able to adapt? I mean, what are some things that have been going on with those type of events for you guys, being a younger team, a sophomore team, versus saying doing more practice?
I think the guys like it, to be honest with you. It brings out the competition,
Okay.
So and it gets them out of our practices are the script is almost the same every day. So it gets them out of a little bit of a funk, and they get to compete against someone else. Mm-hmm. So they're, pumped for that. So I think it's helped us. And like I said, we're light years ahead. So it's not like it's stopping me from putting in something I want to put in because we're ahead of schedule.
Right. I think that's kind of where I've been feeling. I'm coaching a higher level in terms of age group, but realistically I'm still dealing with a lot of sophomores and kids that probably needed that sophomore JV experience that we would provide. They would need that before they get to me. So a lot of kids are really struggling with the demands and the commitment that I would have, but it's the same they would have with you guys or with Tim at Ventura, on varsity there. So it's not very different in terms of the expectations, but you can see that I think the last couple days our kids were, I think, exhausted from the way we were practicing and how much we're lifting. We were still lifting. See, and I think this is a big difference than what you guys were doing is we were lifting at 6 a.m. 4 days a week and running spring football. And I think our guys wore down, especially the last week. And in my eyes, I don't really care that we were wearing down, but I think what I was trying to establish was that I had to get them stronger. I had to get them in the weight room because when I first saw them lift weights, it was pathetic. I mean, they could barely do, basic weight that you would need to do as like a sophomore or junior, or at least you would be in that realm of sophomore, junior. You could do some basic weights. I mean, but skill guys who couldn't lift the bar in 245s, 135 pounds. They couldn't even do that, or 145 pounds, whatever it is. They couldn't even do that. And I'm going, well, you're going to play a strong safety, and you can't do that. I mean, that's pretty sad. But it's sad in the aspect of they just didn't have a weight program that was going to facilitate that strength gain. So we did that a lot. we did a lot of lifting. We went 6 weeks, and we maxed out yesterday, and you saw the product of that where kids were like, Coach, I'm squatting 315. I've never even done 3 plates. Or, Coach, I just put up 225 on bench. Or, hey, Coach, I'm at 185 on cleans. Or, hey, Coach, I did 3 something on deadlift. Getting them to understand how to progress in a weight program. Even the athletic trainer was like starting to get excited and wants to implement some things. And, so it's one of those things where, I knew they were wearing down, but I knew I had to wear them down because I knew we were going to have a week off and then they'd bounce back from it. And so even part of that is we haven't scrimmaged or done anything like you guys have been doing. I've held off and I've said no to things because I wanted to ensure that our progression was going on plan, and I didn't know what we had talent-wise realistically. So now that I've seen what our talent is and what I've seen with our progression, I can say, hey, now let's go see what we look like against another team and see how we do. And I think that's going to be very, very beneficial because when we start summer, we have a Monday practice, which is really 7-on-7 prep, because that Tuesday we go to San Ynez and we play 3 or 4 teams, and we're going to get a good look at how good or bad our kids are. And I think we're going to do pretty good. I don't think we're going to be great, nor do I think we're going to be outstanding. But what I think we're going to do is we're going to compete. And I think that's kind of what I've been trying to instill in them is run to the ball, finish, play through the man, lean on a guy, be physical, reads, keys, basic stuff, right? Tackling, how do you get to the ball? Break down, stuff like that. Hey, you just did this. That drill we did over there is that play right there. Getting them to think that way. And, I think, coaching with you and Pike and some of these guys over the last few years, when you look at the level of our coaching ability versus, like, say, other schools, usually the difference between us and other schools has always been talent, not coaching. Like, there's been very, very few occasions where we have been out-coached or out-prepared. And so it's been kind of cool to be able to, implement some of that philosophy and mindset up there. Even practice schedules. They didn't have a practice schedule, and if they did, they were long periods, chunked, instead of short, quick bursting periods where you're boom, 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 boom. And it's like, well, you got 10 minutes. You better coach 2 or 3 things and get it done. Coach faster. And that's another thing. We practice at tempo. So we're going so fast that kids are just like, what the fuck is going on? Even coaches are like, what the fuck is going on? But nobody's complaining. They've just adapted. So I think that's been kind of cool for me to see. What about, do you think that you guys would serve better for a couple days of competing against others, or do you think you need more time to teach? Have you guys had the time to really teach the basics with this group? I know you said they're a little more advanced, maybe like 2 years ago, that group.
Yeah. No, they get it real quick, and if they don't, they gotta keep up, because a lot of the kids are getting it and things are moving along. So, I think we were supposed to have a tournament today, and it didn't happen. We were supposed to be in a 7-on-7 tournament, and we were looking forward to it, but oh well. So I think competing days, I think we're okay. We didn't have any the first week, so the first week was all straight practice, learning, and then the second week on a Friday, and then this last week we only had 4 days, technically 3, because one day we scrimmaged. So, and that it's going to be four days next week with one 7-on-7 day.
Yeah, that's not bad. We're going to go. We didn't do any in the spring. We could have gone to St. Joseph's for they have officials and all these things, and it's a pretty big day, I guess. But I just looked at it as, we're not ready, and we were not. But we were probably not bad, but we weren't ready. Going into San Ynez, not this week, but the following week, I think we'll do pretty well. And then the next week we go to Atascadero, and we'll go to a 2-day passing tournament up there with linemen. So we have it's a Friday, Saturday thing. I may only take my linemen up on Friday because the second day they're talking about doing like a basketball tournament and hot dog eating contest. I'm like, I'm not. My fucking linemen aren't doing that dumb shit. And that's how people get hurt. It's not football specific stuff. So I'm like, no, fuck that. And then we play San Marcos. We go down to San Marcos and do a 7-on-7 thing down there. The last week, or the week before 4th of July. And then after that, I've been trying to set up an 11-on-11 to finish our summer. But a lot, the struggle is teams take their breaks earlier or later. Some people aren't even in spring football going into the All-Star game. I was, but again, I didn't know what they do up there, so next year I have to modify a bit. But I think I only did the tournament because I think our guys needed to go do something like that. As a group, we needed that day or those 2 days to go and compete and see how it is. Because San Ynez, we play them. Didn't really want to do it, but they'd already set it up, so that's kind of how it is. San Marcos, I set that one up. And I've been trying to do others, but guys are just, oh, well, we don't want to do this. I was like, well, fine, whatever. But I don't have the great facilities to say, hey, come down and let's play 7-on. And that's kind of the challenge I face is we don't have the necessary facilities to do the things I think we need to do. Can we get there? Absolutely. Are we there? Not yet. But I'm excited about that Atascadero tournament just to see how we do because the schools, I'll read them off to you. None of these schools I'm familiar with. And in that context, it makes it a little bit different because, let's see here if I can find it. We're teams from like Yosemite and I think there's only, I don't know if Westlake's going. If I can find this. There it is. A-Town Throwdown. Formerly the Central Coast Classic. Teams that are going. Atascadero, Arroyo Grande. Both good. Centennial from Bakersfield. Wasco, Crescenta Valley, Buchanan. Woodlake, Napomo. Tulare Union, Yosemite. West Hills, Mission Prep, Bishop Diego. Delano, Templeton, Beverly Hills, Pioneer Valley. We're committed, but maybe not now. Highland, Kennedy, Emmanuel, and St. Joe's. And so we're going to go play against some of those schools. And, if we get matched up with an Atascadero or Arroyo Grande, it'll be a good challenge for us. Where are we? Centennial, where are we? West Hills, where are we? Bishop Diego, where are we? Those are some good ones. I don't know anything about, Crescenta Valley might be pretty good. I don't know anything about Wasco or Buchanan or Woodlake or Tulare Union or Yosemite or Delano, or Beverly Hills, probably no good. But, we play Templeton, we play Pioneer Valley, we play Napomo. So there's 3 teams that we can compete with, I know for sure. So it'd be interesting to see how that shakes up. But I think our kids needed it big time. So, and then our freshman, sophomore team, we're going to come down. We can probably have 2 or 3 hog teams for that.
Nice.
Which would be cool because, one of the hog teams will be a primarily sophomore team, or will be mixed in with some of the bigger, team A's, a team A for that hog portion. And then, then we'll have our freshmen and sophomores come down and do 7-on-7, which will probably be, like 6 or 7 skill guys and maybe 4 hogs. So that'd be a cool mixture to get those kids those experiences, because that tournament is pretty good. Canyon, Valencia, St. Bonnie, those are some pretty good teams to compete against, and they're going to be freshmen versus sophomores, so that's going to be a significant challenge. Because Canyon will be physical, Valencia will be physical, even St. Bonnie, even if they might not be very good, they're still going to be physical and kind of dirty. So anyway, so that's kind of where we're at with spring, at least kind of where I'm at. Are there any things that you would do differently, or are there any things that you would want to change with what you guys have done so far?
No, everything's been going smooth.
Well, that's good. That's better than what you could say from last year.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's the coaches that are making the difference? Is it the players? I know we've talked about this before, but
It's a little bit of both. And they have they sort of implemented some of the defense down there on the freshman level last year, and then we have coaches that were with them last year, so they know the kids and they've worked with them before and know what they can do and how to push them.
yeah, and you and Piker are pretty seasoned coaches. You guys have been around the block quite a bit in terms of coaching now, and so you guys have a good grasp of where you need to go and how to do things. So do you find that helps Aaron, in his new position? Do you think that's helping the young guys with some of your guys' direction?
Yeah, and Aaron said that before. He's thanked us before because he has me and Pike to help him out, and we're basically running the show on what was it, Wednesday. One of our kids got injured, and he had to go tend to that, and we ran the show basically for that scrimmage.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Well, that's good. I know I had an injury the other day. It was an ankle, and I'm still learning. So I had the one guy kind of help, and then I went back to practice instead of the other way around. But it'll get there. It'll get to where I'm doing that, and I know this program's coaching itself.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. We still got a ways to go. I will say it's different, man. Not having guys that you know very well versus having guys you played with and coached with and your brothers played with. And, that's a nice luxury of knowing everybody. You guys are hired some young guys to come in that played for us. I coached a few of them. You've coached with them or coached them as well. So that you guys are getting hires from within, kind of the Ventura way. But good programs typically are hiring old coaches. I haven't had that luxury yet, but I think as we keep going, I will get that. I will have that dynamic of kids who are leaving who come back, or kids who stay and don't have much going on to come out and coach.
Yeah.
Because I have one guy, he's going to be the JV, frosh soft, whatever, coordinator. Wasn't going to coordinate, was just going to coach O-line. And he's been at every weight room for the most part, and he's been very committed. And he was like, he goes, I haven't been this excited about Cabrillo football since I played. And even then, it wasn't even anything like this. So it's cool to see some of this excitement from people. And it's funny to me because I'm not doing anything different. Like, I'm just doing what we've always done coaching-wise. So
Yeah.
it's strange to hear that response. Like, oh, I'm super excited about this. And I'm just going, this is normal operating procedures. This is nothing different. This is just what we do. So that's kind of crazy. But I'm also on the outside looking in. I haven't been there. I don't know how it's been. I just hear about it. And I hear about it, and then I see it, and I get pissed off. And then I handle it. But it's I gotta continue to get these people to see the light. And once they see the light, then the norms will just kind of create themselves because they're going to see it and they'll adapt to it. And I think people have been adapting. It's been a culture shock on how things go. So I got ASB on my back. They're supporting me. I got my principal, my athletic director supporting me. So that dynamic's getting really good too. We just now need to get more coaches and get this freshman class in, and then obviously win. I think that's a big challenge for us, is winning.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of linemen, you said. I've got 4 linemen that I think are going to be pretty good. Still green as hell, but very strong, especially for 1 year or 6 weeks of lifting.
Yeah.
Do you? I think we're going to have growing pains because we're so young, but do you think you guys are going to have maybe the skill guys to compete against some of these teams, especially when you're technically you're kind of, I'm essentially doing what Pike's doing up there offensively, very similar. I watch what Tim's doing, and it's maybe different than what you guys are doing slightly. Are you guys going to be able to have the skill guys to make the plays on the outside?
Like receivers?
Receivers, DBs, things like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to have the guys. The running back right now is a question, and the quarterback is a question as well. But I'm pretty sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I know right now we've got 2 guys battling for quarterback. I like both of them. I think one of them, the senior, is a little bit more of a... He's like Jack last year, very athletic, dynamic player. But his attitude makes me nervous to say, hey, he's my quarterback, because he could go off script. And not in a way that would be bad, but just he's not fully... He hasn't been molded by me enough, and he's a senior. He came out practice talking about a girl one day. We're warming up, and I send the team to run down, touch the thing, come back and start the warm-up over. And then after practice, I just call them out. I said, the girls are going to be there after practice and before practice. They're not during practice, and you want to be the quarterback, but you're worried about girls. It's like, you're not going to be, and I've said this to multiple people. He won't be my quarterback if that continues. When we're in the weight room, the most social person in the weight room is Sean. If he would shut up and work as hard as Jackson, right, that'd be great, because Jackson's actually getting stronger than him, and he's a year younger, which means Jackson's got more upside. And if they're even, I'm going to go to the young guy. But Jackson doesn't have the swagger or the attitude that Sean does, you know what I mean? So if I could put those kids together, I got a really talented quarterback. Skinny little running back, but again, Sean could be the backup. So that could be the potential there.
Yeah.
Sean could also be a wideout. Sean could also be a DB. Sean can return kicks. Jackson could probably do some of those things. He could probably be a DB and could return kicks. But then when you watch him run zone read, you're going, oh, damn, dude. He reminds me a lot of Girardi without the arm.
Yeah.
Sean reminds me a lot of Jack with the arm. So it's one of those things where it's like a very opposite. I'm like in Bizarro world.
Yeah.
So, but our line is strong on our O-line, and some of those guys might play D-line, but again, situationally. And linebackers are young, all juniors, one senior. The seniors hasn't played since freshman year, so it's like having 4 or 5 sophomore or juniors. And so those guys are learning, struggling with reads. DBs are really talented, but again, they play offense, so it's finding that balance. But we've only done 2 coverages. We've run black and special, and we've introduced invert. But I got to call it. They still don't identify it. The first group does. But then when you get after that first group, it's a significant drop.
Yeah.
So it's finding those 1A, 1B guys and then developing these 2s as fast as possible to get them better. And I think it's coming. It's just coming along slower than I want it to. But again, they've never done it before. But I think offensively we'll be able to run the ball and score some points. It's just can our quarterbacks throw it on time, throw it in the right spot, and make the right decisions. Because our line, when we block counter, it looks pretty damn good. When we block power, it looks pretty damn good. When we're running zone and stretch, there's shit that's coming open. I mean, and it's, granted we're running against the 2s, but we got our 1 linebackers out there, and we got our 1 ends out there.
Yeah.
So, there is a give and take that I think our O-line is pretty good. It's just now they're pass pro, because we did a team pass period the other day, where it was only passing and O-line versus D-line, and then wideouts were running on air. Because I didn't have pennies. I forgot to grab them that day, so that we could have a contrast for quarterbacks to see. And I've got beanies coming for our helmets and stuff because they had like old like pullovers and stuff that were just ratty and shitty. I'm like, we'll just get the caps, just like we have, and you can tell now. And our O-line struggled with 60-70, understanding, hey, I got a lineman outside. I got a lineman straight up on me, a D end on me, and I'm the tackle, and I'm blocking 70 or 60, some outside protection, right? And there's nobody else outside. So if I step outside to block someone outside, there's nobody there, right? So I block the guy in front of me because there's nobody outside. And if anybody is outside of me, we know that the running back would help, right? Well, not understanding that guy steps outside. The guy inside doesn't step the right way. He steps the opposite way. And now a guy who was blocked and covered is free, And it's just things like that, just not understanding. But again, they don't know this. I know this because I've coached long enough to know this. But again, the kids don't know this because they haven't been coached this way. And it's thinking like that, like telling a kid, hey, you have a read. And we're watching film. Where, you're a running back. Where's the 3 technique lined up? You're running inside zone. What is your aiming point? Where do you think the hole's going to go based on this alignment? And I get this like, oh, kind of comment. It's stuff like that. Quarterbacks, how many safeties are high? Do you have 2 or 1? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. What are you thinking? Linebackers, your guard's your key. Doesn't matter what's called. Well, you called. See, this was funny to me. A linebacker said, "What is the play told us to go this way?" I said, "The play." I said, "I'm telling you where we're attacking. I'm not calling a play. The play is what you react to, your read and your reaction. The play that we call the attacking movement of our D line is where the lineman is going to attack, which means if your read presents you a different attack point, then you adjust to that attack point. Again, just not used to that, And so it's just trying to get these kids to think that way. If you're a DB and your read goes one way, where do your eyes go? If you're a linebacker, you get pass, where do your eyes go? Rerouting. They're getting it. It's just they've never done it. So those are the things we're struggling with, and I'm struggling with. But I think you can see the differences coming. It's just slow, really fucking slow. But whatever. I'll be up there shortly and moving, and I'll be able to, really mold where we're going.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What about your coaching staff? You happy with where it is right now? I know we talked a little bit about it, but are you happy with your coaches, the young guys coaching?
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job.
Are they struggling at all with what you guys are trying to do, or are they handling it pretty
A
good?
little bit. They still think all the techniques are the same like as when they played because they weren't around when we switched the defense. So I gotta help them out a little bit. Tell them like, oh, this is the new technique. You know, we don't give up the inside. We give up the outside if we're gonna give up anything. Mm-hmm. And the jobs that the different safeties do, because in our defense, you know how it's complicated what the safeties do.
Sure.
So but I think they're doing a great job.
Do they are they liking the defense? I mean, they played in a 3-4, and it's similar in ways. Coverages are not. It's a completely different coverage scheme, which I think it's better coverage scheme. Truthfully, it simplifies.
Yeah, the safeties coach goes, "That's tough." I go, "I know, it's tough." Some of those positions when they become strongs or cats and they got to do different things, and I go, "Yeah, it's extremely tough, but
If you got a guy, it's pretty dynamic.
yeah."
Really dynamic. Do you think it's a good mixture of age and experience and youth right now with what you guys got?
Yeah, I think it's like almost like tiers. Like we have three guys, so it's me, Pike, and Aaron at the top, and then we have and then Jim, I guess, fits in right underneath, and then we have the guys that came up from freshmen. We got Leo, Nico, and Javi, and then we got the young guys that just came in.
Yeah, that's a good mixture. We got I'm on varsity staff wise. I'm the second youngest coach in the program, varsity wise. All the coaches are in their 40s, early 40s, mid 40s. A lot like Worth age, you know, that early 40 age range. And then me and the corners coach are 33. And then the safeties coach, who hasn't been there full time yet, but he's been there a couple days and doing stuff on huddle for me. He's 26. And so that's our varsity staff. The sophomores, Frosh Soft team, that staff is a little bit older, and they're all in their 40s. And then I got one guy who's going to be in his young 20s. And so that's an interesting dynamic. Not a lot of youth, but I'm youthful. So how I do things is kind of bringing it down a little bit. But I'm not old. I'm old school. I'm a product of who we played for, but I'm also a product of what I think isn't right today. And so we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, we're still early in the game. We've got a lot more teaching, a lot more days where the grind is going to come, and we get to that August, that second week of August where we're going 6 days for the second straight week, and the kids are like, fuck this. But then that next week when they go scrimmage, it's like, all right, we're ready to go. So we'll see. Dodgers did pull it out today, huh? Oh, shit, look at that. They were down 8-6, ended up winning 10-8. So I think that's 6 in a row, 7 in a row. Kershaw goes over 2,000. That's shit. You can't really beat that. I'm pretty impressed with them, having watched them for the most part until they ran out of churros. But then I got Tomad with a little blue sticky.
Yep.
But still, saying churros the amount of times I did, golden.
Get this man a churro.
Somebody get this guy a churro. Well, it's not as bad as being sensitive about losing or playing, a random water pong game.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like, being weak-willed and soft-minded. But I don't know. That's maybe that's just a product of going to a private school.
Yeah, it's possible.
Who knows? Well, I think we hammered it out 2 in a row, even though we messed up the first one and muted the whole thing. I think 2 rounds of 80 minutes of talking pretty much covered it all.
Yeah.
A little bit more mellow this time.
What do they say? First take, first try? Negative.
No, epic fail.
Epic fail.
Epic fail for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got today for the Creeps. It's a little slow Saturday, a little gloomy outside, but we got through it. Hope you enjoyed it. Even if you aren't listening, you probably should be. I'm AJ Pateris.
Aurelio Martinez.
We're the Creeps. Peace
You guys
out.
have a good night.